7:30 a.m. It's beautiful. 70, 71, both inside and outside. And what day is it, T-Rex? It's a Saturday. Can it be? Yes, it can be. We're all wagging our tail because we haven't had a Saturday this beautiful since the year 2024. Stop. Here at the end of the line. Squirrels and stuff over there. And a little smoke in the sky. Otherwise, it's a blue sky over Bass River. This is Fallon's Pond. We're out the door, 7:30 a.m., the second day of the celestial summertime. And boy, is it busy. We just happen to be between systems here in New England right now. Look at this satellite image I just got, hot off the press. It's still dark in western United States, so that's why it looks a little different. But 3 storms all lined up. One going into the Atlantic Ocean, another over the Great Lakes, and a third over the Pacific Northwest, where that one on the upper left is actually a snowstorm in the mountains of, I think it counted 7 states. Here is the surface analysis from the Weather Prediction Center, and the 8 a.m. analysis says that you see the blue and the purple there in the upper left there in Washington, Oregon, California, Wyoming, I think Nevada, Montana, Idaho. About 7 states are expecting a wintry mix of snow and sleet and rain across the Northwest. And in the middle, though, there's a tremendous amount of heat. There's a 992 low that doesn't show any precipitation there over South Dakota. A derecho formed yesterday and has outrun that low, and that's the derecho that we've been talking about for possibly tonight. We started talking about it a week ago. We said, can the Euro actually predict a derecho from 7 nights out? Once again, a derecho is a long-lived thunderstorm that happens on the north side of extreme heat, and it happened yesterday in North Dakota. And Brad from, I think, North Carolina, meteorologist, must have been storm chasing, but he got this time lapse, which I'm speeding up here, of the derecho coming across Bismarck, North Dakota. Once again, a derecho is a storm that forms in very hot air, and it reaches up to 10 to 12 miles in the sky, and it produces severe wind gusts, often in excess of 80 miles per hour, lightning, thunder, sometimes tornadoes, but usually it's hail and wind, more like straight line wind. And that is holding together this morning. And there's some of the hail. I think his name is Landon. Saw some of the hail in North Dakota and South Dakota. There was hail of 2 to 4 inch in diameter. Here's the report from the Severe Storm Prediction Center. Now, hail is usually shown as blue, and wind is green, and red is tornadoes. But you see all the black squares? Those black squares are used to signify hail greater than 2 inches in diameter. So there was a bunch of that. And that system, which is kind of confusing now, is it going to come to New England? Are we going to get a derecho tonight? Make the call, TK. No, we are not going to get a derecho in New England tonight, I think. But jury's still out. Severe Storm Prediction Center says there will likely be a derecho forming today and going into Ontario tonight. I read the analysis, a lot of moving parts here. And for New England, it's probably going to be splintering and decaying is the way I feel about it, because of some of the indications this morning. You got to look at yesterday, you got to look at today, you got to look at tomorrow. Yesterday, how about that wind? More on that in a moment. Well, why don't we talk about that right now, actually? The wind on Mount Washington yesterday gusted to 124 miles per hour. I think that's one of the strongest wind gusts on record for the month of June. I think it came in as 4th place. And as for June 20th, I think that that's the strongest wind gust we've had in recorded history on the summit of Mount Washington. How was the wind at your house yesterday? Thousands lost electricity with power outages. My flag on Weymouth, you'll see, got all tangled up, and I had to cut the line on it because the birch tree flagpole was starting to break off, or I could hear it cracking. Now this morning, where's the wind? There's no wind. We have a little bit of a ridge between the departing storm and the advancing storm. And on the summit of Mount Washington, incidentally, there's a little bit of snow still left on Mount Washington and Tuckerman Ravine. That's going to be going quick. And the wind is about 38 miles per hour. And the temperature is 38 degrees on Mount Washington this morning. That is not conducive to sustaining a derecho. Derecho is fed by heat and cold way up in the sky, but generally surface-based heat, which is not established in New England. Here is the regional temperature roundup from this morning. You see 44 degrees with a dew point of 44 degrees in Island Pond, Vermont. You are not going to get a severe thunderstorm with that kind of weather, although it's going to change so dramatically in 24 hours. You may have a severe thunderstorm gust in Island Pond, and the warm spot this morning would be 70 in Bridgeport, Connecticut, with a dew point in the 60s. So you really need dew point in the 60s and 70s for these derecho events and the hot weather. It's been 100 degrees in the northern plains, and we are going to get to 100 degrees, but it's going to be on the backside of this incoming mesoscale convective system is what it's called, and it is going to plow into New England tonight. Want to see the satellite from this morning. There's New England. This is a closer up of the clear sky in New England, just a little patchy fog which is burning off. It's a gorgeous Saturday. And then look at that swirl with the thunderstorms over Lake Superior and the southern Wisconsin, those towering cumulonimbus. I didn't think that this thing was already going to be established this morning. I thought it was going to be fueled by the heating of the day today in Minnesota. So it's going to outrun its energy, I think is what's going to happen. We're still going to get a bunch of wind and storms tomorrow, and storms in northern New England, wind in southern and western New England, but probably not the derecho event. So it's going to be a monster that's decaying into just sort of run-of-the-mill severe storms with potentially damaging wind gusts, but it's going to happen at sunrise, so it's kind of unusual, or even over after midnight in the middle of the dark hours in northern New England. And let's go to the NAM and see what we see here in the Northeast. What we see is not much. Yesterday, the NAM tried to print out a thunderstorm over Providence, Rhode Island at 4 o'clock this afternoon. Today, it says it's closer to New York City, so we're going to have a beautiful day, the best Saturday of 2025. And then tonight you start to see the creepy crawlies coming out of Ontario. And here it comes. It's a meso low pressure system with damaging winds holding together into Ontario, where the heat will have already been established. But then it gets into New England. I'm going to really slow it down tomorrow morning, about 4 a.m., 5 a.m. The low looks like it wants to go into northern Maine, so that's a little further north than the Euro had it. And those could be severe thunderstorms to start the day tomorrow morning. And those are going to be splintering. And watch the lower left flank break off and go over Lake Ontario. That is where the heat's already going to be established. So Lake Ontario gets the southwest flank of that on the hot side, and then the rest of it goes across Maine and mostly misses southern New Hampshire, Massachusetts, and Rhode Island as just the isobars tighten up. Look at those isobars tightening up tomorrow in southern and New England. We're going to have the watch your barometer tomorrow, and the wind is really going to ramp up. We're going to have strong winds tomorrow, almost as strong or stronger than yesterday. And then this goes out through tomorrow night. The wind is going to start to relax, and then it gets into Monday. You see a few more thunderstorms north of us on Monday, but what you note in the afternoon, there's 2 p.m., the 582 thickness. I've been talking about 582 for so long because that's the kind of air mass that supports 100-degree weather. And we have severe warnings across the nation for wintry weather and for thunderstorms and for heat. Here's the national advisories, watches, and warnings this morning. In the upper left, the blue, that's the winter storm that's coming into Montana primarily, and then all the dark red and kind of burnt oranges, those are heat watches and warnings in effect, including New England now. There's an excessive heat warning for southern New England tomorrow afternoon, and there's an excessive heat watch in Maine for Monday. So our heat wave begins tomorrow on the backside of those thunderstorms, and it's going to continue into about Wednesday. And for all of this, we look at the Euro and watch it play out. So this is from pivotalweather.com. There's our low going across Lake Superior, already established this morning, and then coming into northern New England tomorrow and splintering, much like the NAM just showed. And then on the backside of that, all thunderstorm activity, which we'll be calling the play-by-play on tomorrow morning. I'm sure max velocity is going to be all-nighter tonight. And tomorrow morning, the clouds and wind and tomorrow's not a very nice day at all. Not a nice day because of the wind, but it's going to turn hot and really uncomfortable. My least favorite kind of weather. And after that, the storms, the one that's producing that wintry mix out west, is going to drive up into central Canada, and we are left mostly rain-free here on Monday, close to 100 degrees. Tuesday, probably topping 100 degrees, maybe the hottest day of the year on Tuesday, with high pressure to our south, low pressure to our north. And then here comes high pressure into central Canada, and that's going to push a front down into at least northern and eastern New England on Wednesday. There'll be some thunderstorm activity, and we may have powerful thunderstorms. Does not look like a day rate show, but I will have to watch out for that kind of an event on the backside of this heat. On Wednesday, heat-breaking front, at least for Maine and northeastern Massachusetts, but the front's kind of stalled here with off and on showers and thunderstorms. The heat's now strong from New York City to Washington, D.C., and we're talking the hottest in the whole country, hotter than Florida. And those thunderstorms are going to try and lift back as kind of a warm front as that high pressure gives way to a low pressure system coming in next weekend. Does not look like a rain-free weekend next weekend. Thunderstorms with a warm front, and then we get us out to Monday, June 30th, the last day of June, and low pressure to our north, and the heat's coming back at us with storms. So that's day 10, 240 hours is as far as we go, and it is hot and stormy. That's the summation of the weather forecast for New England for the next 10 days. T-Rex can hear Kevin next door. All right, we're done with the weather part. Yesterday, what did we do for our and more? Well, we were out there trying to make some commentary in the wind. It was so windy yesterday, irritating kind of wind, and my flag got all messed up. And then we came to Cape Cod. Traffic, yes, was pretty terrible, kind of typical. All it takes is a little accident here or there, like somebody in the half of the right lane on Route 6 to slow you down again. So traffic waves, but we got here and went over and visited Chuck at the shed, and Kenny and Marie showed up. There's this thing in Cape Cod today called Hennessy Fest at the Cape Cod Beer Company in memory of Mark Hennessy, one of our favorite musicians for our entire life. Lost his battle to cancer about 3 years ago, and the last place he ever played was at the Cape Cod Beer Company. And there are going to be 4 or 5 bands there this afternoon, and it's going to be a perfect day for that. But we kind of came down for chores, didn't we, T-Rex? How many chores can we do after editing and before going to see all that live music with our friends in Hyannis? I don't know. All right, you want to go see Kevin? Kevin's next door. There you go, T-Rex. So stay safe tonight, and all you people that made plans to cancel your camping, I think that was a wise choice. All right, and more from yesterday. And more on Friday. There's a lot of air moving from high to low pressure. It's one of those days. How windy is it? Windy enough to blow over these heavy barrels. Top kicking everyone for habitually calling Portland concrete cement. It's concrete. I know it is. I don't know why I keep making that mistake. Can you hear me now? Look how fast the shadow's moving across the water. Tell what the sky is doing by looking at the shadows in the clouds. There's my pussy willow. My birch tree, flagpole, barely hanging on. What is wind anyway? The beach was packed yesterday. Oh, I think I see one person out there right now.
Windy at my house today.
I talked about how the ground was wet, but not where the bark mulch is. It was so sunny and low humidity and windy that an ash and bark mulch can start a fire. I'm not sure if that's what happened here or not. Sometimes bark mulch just catches itself on fire. 3 p.m. Wind just gusted to 124 miles per hour on Mount Washington. Wow. Looks like it's a tiny bit less windy here now. On the time lapse, Weymouth, that sediment plume going going out and then coming back maybe with the tide. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. I'm trying to get to Cape Cod, but so many other things are going on. Slowing us down. We are stopped, but we're on Route 3 South. We're headed south, Rex. And don't call me cement. I'm concrete. Not me, but I've been making that mistake. All right, slow road to Cape Cod. It is Friday after all, but most of the traffic's actually Duxbury and Plymouth. We moved along there for a couple of minutes there. Now we're 1 mile from the bridge, going very slowly. Nice weather. Happy to see that there are a lot of people going to Cape Cod. Hey. Dashboard thermometer, by the way, 85 degrees. It runs a little hot. Call it 83. Is that a cloud up there, T-Rex? Nice Friday. Fore River to Bass River in 2 hours or less. Kind of a long ride, but looking good. I think it might have been worth it. What do you think, T-Rex? Oh, except we're supposed to do chores all weekend. Part of the weekend. All right, maybe some chores. It's still breezy, and quick look around. There were some branches down. T-Rex and I just went for a walk in the backyard. Now the question is, how hot is it in the house? We were here just a couple weeks ago, and we had to turn the heat on. Remember that? What was that, around June 12th or something like that? All right, let's go in. That's T-Rex's bed already. Huh. All right, it's not that cooking. Get you some water, Rex. Let's check the indoor-outdoor thermometer. Indoor on the left, 77. Outdoor on the right, 83. That'll do. There was a rabbit we just chased in the backyard. That window maybe appears kind of clean, but it's time to wash all the windows for real. Oh, I love doing that. That's one of my favorite chores. Not. I always wait for the hottest weather. Yeah, Rex. Should we go see Chuck? He says he did a lot of yard work today. See if we can't scratch up his yard a little bit. Tough to keep up with the Means. Dogwood still looking great with the hydrangea coming. It's a really gardeny neighborhood. Jeez whiz, hello. Chuck says he spruced his yard up too. His yard was already spruced up. How do you spruce up a spruced up yard? For sale, $800. Nice little boat. Little outboard on that. Stripers are in the river. Oh yeah, we got spruced up roses in bloom. You do what you gotta do, T-Rex. Yeah. Take care of business. Which way to the kitchen, please? I don't think the kitchen's open right now, T-Rex. You might want to check the backyard. He's got everyone trained.
I got trained from T-Rex.
Chuck, I hate to tell you, but he hasn't done his business in quite a while, so.
You like those? Good boy.
He's just gonna take it and bury it.
Chew it up good.
What's that thermometer say over there? It says, it's warm out. The tree has a good attitude. Keep an eye on T-Rex. I don't know who that guy is. Hello. It's a beautiful yard.
T-Rex, my good buddy.
I got a flag issue at home. Flag that wrapped around. I had to cut it loose. You'll see that on the time lapse. About 4 o'clock. Oh, Kenny and Marie just happened to be driving by, and so.
It just sits there and purrs.
What a car! T-Rex, you like that car? Look at that thing. Yeah, it's sweet. No wheelies. So Kenny and Marie, really good friends who I haven't seen since last year, just happened to drive by on shed night and it's time for us to wrap this up for the day. And why not down here on the Bass River? I love going from the Fall River to the Bass River. You're gonna stay in the car. I'm gonna go out there and wrap this up. Rex, see the cat? All right, you know where we are. Fallon's Pond, Bass River, Solstice. So the sun is as far to the right, otherwise known as north, as it gets for the year. Directly over the Tropic of Cancer on the other side of the world in the darkness of tonight, which was now last night. And our time lapse from Weymouth on the Fall River, our flag succumbed to the wind. It got wrapped around the top of the pole right when I was all ready to leave for the Cape, and it was acting like a sail, and I could hear the birch tree starting to crack, so I had to cut the line. My apologies for disrespect for this flag. It's not a disrespect, it's just I didn't have time to fix it. So that's another thing I gotta do. Everything's broken all the time. And here in the Bass River, that flagpole also in disrepair, needing a flag and a new crow. So you probably can't tell how windy it was. I don't even see a cloud in the sky right now, but I'm assuming there were a few cumulus there in South Venice for a while today. Down by the marsh. Maybe I have too many wiffle balls, huh? Everyone's got plenty of wiffle ball bats, but a lot of us don't have enough wiffle balls. Well, here we go. There's a wiffle ball. Funny. All right. Thanks for watching. I've used myself. Talk to you tomorrow.